Let's see. Now we're going to go to Ryan Solski. There you are, smack dab front and center. Let me add you into the old spotlight here. How are you doing
Hi,
there, Ryan?
I'm doing okay.
So, welcome to the show. You, sir, are coming on at the end of the show. We've had some
Yep.
amazing artists tonight. The good news is you're keeping pace with them. There's no letdown here. So let's
No, that's
talk
good to
about
know.
what you're doing.
Um, well, I'm unlike the sculpture artists that have been on or the musicians. I'm more of a traditional cartoonist or comic strip kind of artist. Uh, I'm turning 40 in March, so I've been at this for a little while. I'm in Ontario, and I graduated, I guess, 2005 from the Ontario College of Art and Design. I've had deep roots in the comic conventions and all those things, and kind of work my craft. Uh, the one that was kind of getting famous there on some of the feeds was this one,
Yeah.
and I think it might have also attracted because of the beach theme in that.
Well,
It's from Betty and Veronica from Archie's.
yeah, absolutely. The mid-century modern is a key component to just about any tiki bar these days. So when I saw your stuff, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!"
I do a whole process with the iPad for coloring it up and giving it a more vintage look, and even the color palettes and the textures and that, making it look as if it's from the 60s or 70s.
And it's funny. We've had a lot of um, comic artists on, and they tend to skew towards either the superhero or the horror side. Now, for
Yeah.
me, whatever reason, when I was a kid, I don't know, I got my fill of Richie Rich and the Archies and Casper and all those silly ones. Maybe not so silly anymore. I probably should have kept them. I probably made good money on that. Um, but
Yeah,
so
that's true.
how did this become where your focus was?
For me, I've tackled a lot of things. Tackled imagination. Fantasy realms of fantastic creatures and aliens and superheroes and you name it. I've probably tried to draw it. Stuff like the Jack Kirby characters, even in that style. I've done that even recently, and also done other artists that I'm inspired by, like Steve Ditko and Gene Colan. Uh, they were famous in their day for Marvel and DC. I'm very much a classicist when it comes to drawing. I like the practice in either trying to replicate a drawing by looking at it and then doing all the penciling and inking, or coming up with my own idea or my own spin on something. But I found that nowadays I've had a lot of attention for the Archie characters, especially Betty and Veronica, and I found that they're something that I find easy to draw, uh, or at least not effortless, but something that I really feel for, and I can also understand the content, and I think there's something universal about them, especially with Instagram, being a broad audience, but people generally are attracted to things that they recognize. So I do that. Although I also I do my own thing, and I do a lot of commissions where people are asking for me to draw something kind of in the style of Archie's or in the style of Jack Kirby or someone else, and I'll do that too.
And so with the art that you do, what's the most popular? What are people tuning into the most of what you're doing? Is it around the
Um,
Archies?
I found that the Betty and Veronicas are quite popular. The Jack Kirby ones. I know in every October there's this during Inktober there's a Jack Kirby list, and that's always whenever I've done that I've gone up a couple hundred followers. People seem to really engage with it, or to ask me to do a small drawing that style. Like I do these sketch cards, which are kind of like trading cards, about 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and I've done probably 500 or 600 of those for trades and for sales, where I'll draw sometimes a favorite picture or favorite character. I remember Moon Knight. I know he's kind of trending right now. Did that a couple of years ago. A couple of people really like that, and I remember that post when I this is back when I had a couple hundred followers, and I think I matched my follower count with the amount of likes. So that was not something that always happens.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's really good. So ask the same question that I asked earlier to Emily. So because your Archie stuff, I mean, man, it's like spot on. It looks almost identical. You've not heard anything. You're able to live free and clear and do your work, do what you do.
It's actually funny because I've had the opposite experience. I've had a couple individuals, I can't really name names just for their own privacy, who've come forward who worked for Archie's or are working for Archie's. They've introduced themselves to me, but they've actually done it in kind of a congratulatory way.
Nice. Okay.
More than the other way around. And there's I guess like having done conventions, I know I'm not. I know how to speak to other artists and to other writers and publishers and stuff like that. So it's usually, they understand that I'm not doing it to print the material as my own comic book. I think at that point I might overstep it. Like if I was to draw a Betty and Veronica comic and publish it myself and try to sell it, I might get into trouble there.
And I think if you drew Betty and Veronica, in not so nice kind of way, you draw them nude, I think the Archies probably would come down on you on that.
They probably would. I'm actually, I'm not a prude or anything, but I do think that I go as far as how they're depicted in the comic book. So tasteful. If they wear a bikini, then that's what they're wearing, or a foxy sort of swimwear. That's good. Or inversely, if Archie or Jughead is topless because they're at the beach, that makes sense. I don't have to draw nipples on them or anything, but I try to keep it at least a bit tasteful, because I find that I also attract a lot of children and teenagers to my page, so that way at least keep it PG friendly.
Yeah, no, and it's some great work that you're doing. So let me ask the question just to help for everybody who's watching. How do people order your stuff? Is it because I've seen you have some merchandise and you have some of the paintings that you have. Do you do commission if they say, hey, I'd love to have the Archies doing this kind of thing, and as long as it fits guidelines? I mean, is that the kind of thing you do? Is that what we'd be looking at?
Well, I often take direct messages on Instagram for people who are interested in talk to me about a commission, or I've done a number of digital commissions just recently where people they have an idea and they want me to draw it, and then I'll email them the file and they'll just PayPal me for it. But I often do original artwork, which I'll mail out. And my prices are generally low by most people's standards, but to me it's it's an enjoyable price, and most of the art that I would do for a commission doesn't take more than 10 hours for a drawing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and that's kind of cool. So if I said, oh, I want to have the Archies at a tiki bar with Jughead behind serving up the drinks kind of thing, that's something that you would do then.
Yeah, that's definitely something I can do. Like I know right now there was one guy who wanted me to do a 2-page comic strip. It's about 6 or 7 panels on each page in the Archie style, with these toys he has drawn as Archie style characters. And I said, wow, that's going to be a bit of work. But I agreed to it. And stuff like that, where sometimes it's outside of the just the very easy things, and something like what you mentioned would to me instantly I think of like full color, kind of like a cover image or a poster style image.
Man, so you've already as soon as I mentioned the idea, you're like, boom, I can see it in my head.
Yeah. Well, I've been drawing for, I guess in high school, I started taking it seriously. That would have been back in the mid 90s, and where people were asking me ideas to draw things. So I was a big kind of comic reader at that time. So I often, would think about things and visualize it. But having drawn pretty much every day, the past 25 years at least, kind of just it's more automatic.
Yeah, I would
Especially if it's a
imagine
good
so.
idea too. Like the tiki bar idea is pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be real fun. So yeah, we're gonna talk. Man, that's the thing with this show. I'm going broke, dude.
Well,
I have all you amazing artists on, and it's like, oh my God, I'm buying everything. I'm going broke.
yeah.
Um, had to move into a big house to be able to put all the art and everything that I get from this show. So yeah, love your stuff. And like I said, you're the comics that the style that you're doing. That's kind of what I grew up on is seeing those kind of cartoons. So I'm going to ask the eternal question: Betty or Veronica?
Uh, I'd probably say Veronica, right? Because I could always take a rich woman. She would never get really mad because I ran out of money on a date.
I like the thought process there. Smart man. All right, so we've got all your info in the chat. Go check out the art if you haven't seen it. This is some really cool stuff, and it's going to take you back to your days, your high school days.
And I think I have a couple, like more than 2,000 posts. So.
Yeah,
So
dude, you're prolific.
most people say that they start looking through it and then they realize that they're not going to get to the end of it because it would take too long. So there was a while there I was posting three or five posts a day just because I was turning out that many drawings. So yeah, there's definitely a lot there. If you're an Archie's fan, I'm sure you'll be pleased. But I've also done a lot of DC and Marvel characters in the past too.
Yeah, you're kind of like the how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
Exactly.
How many swipes does it take to get to the bottom of your newsfeed? The world may never know. All right. Keep up the good work. Like I said, love what you're doing, man. It's great stuff. And yeah, we got to talk about the Archies at a tiki bar. I think that'd be killer.
For sure. Just contact me about it. It's good.
I will do that. And see, I'm putting all these ideas out there for free for everybody. So, that's the sharing kind of guy I am. Thanks for joining us tonight, Ryan. Again, another Canadian. We've had like a bunch of Canadians on the show tonight.
Well, it's funny where I am. I'm in kind of the heart of the blizzard that Sarah was talking about earlier. I'm in the Niagara region, kind of close to Buffalo, on the Canadian side of the border, and we had about 2.5 feet of snow come down yesterday.
Oh,
and it was packing snow. So it's not even that fluffy stuff. It's that, you step in it, and most of my neighbors, their vent out from their furnaces, the gas, were clogged with snow, so their furnaces turned off. So it was. I don't even want to tell you about the negative temperatures, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's believe me, I grew up in the Midwest. I don't know why I'm back, but I grew up in the Midwest, so I remember those temperatures and those days. I remember getting snow, up to here kind of thing. And I'm glad that we're not getting that right now. So sorry, we're sending it your way apparently.
Well, don't worry, we get it for a month or two here of snow, and then it's back into spring.
Yes, springtime in Canada. So hopefully I'll be able to see that here soon. Well, COVID will be done by then. We'll actually be able to travel to Canada.
I hope so.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you.